You don't belong here. Go deliver empanadas at least you're good at that. Joel stood frozen, holding a brown paper bag with lunch inside. His face was calm, but his heart was burning. What they didn't know, that the delivery boy they mocked had memorized finance manuals, studied international law on a cracked phone screen, and kept an advanced economics book in his worn-out backpack. That day, everything would change. Joel Reyes, 22, delivered food for an app in one of the most elite office towers in the city. NovaCorp Tower. Same routine. Same helmet. Same red uniform. Nobody saw him. Nobody knew his name. But Joel saw everything. At night, back in a cramped apartment with peeling walls and a sick sister asleep on the couch, Joel transformed. He watched Harvard finance lectures, solved complex accounting exercises by candlelight, wrote notes in a beat-up spiral notebook. He had no degree, no rich family, no network. But he had something else. Hunger to win. One rainy Wednesday, Joel was sent to the 29th floor with a lunch delivery for CEO conference room north. He walked in quietly. Executives stared at screens filled with numbers. At the center of it all, Davy Cardenas, NovaCorp's CEO known for his cold, sharp business mind. Samantha Bega, operations manager, snapped at him. Drop it and go. We're in the middle of something important. Joel turned to leave, but something on the screen caught his eye. An error. A compound interest calculation. It was wrong. He hesitated, then said quietly, "Sorry, that number's incorrect. With that rate and time frame, the final sum shouldn't be $2.3 million. It should be $1.87. Silence. Samantha rolled her eyes. What? Now delivery guys do finance. But the CEO leaned forward, interested. Are you sure? Joel nodded. Prove it, David said. Joel stepped up and explained clearly, confidently, accurately. The room fell silent. That moment changed everything. The CEO had Joel's file pulled from the delivery app's data. 2 days later, Joel received a message. NovaCorp Human Resources. Monday, 9 a.m. He thought it was a prank. It wasn't. They tested him, interviewed him, gave him real finance problems to solve. And Joel crushed them all. No degree, no connections, just raw brilliance. But behind closed doors, the executives weren't impressed. He doesn't belong here. No credentials, no pedigree. Will become a joke, Samantha sneered. If he's so smart, let him solve the Albion Capital case. No help, no coaching. They handed Joel a complex 80 tax dispute. 72 hours. Alone. They expected him to fail, but Joel had faced harder things. Like hunger. Like sleeping with one eye open. Like watching his sister fade without meds. They wanted to break him. He gave them a blueprint. Joel solved the Albion case in 3 days. Clear, structured, legally sound. He even found a loophole worth $1.40 million in savings. The board was shocked, but the fear of being outshined by a nobody grew stronger. Samantha began whisper campaigns. He's awkward. He doesn't fit in. He's lucky. Not qualified. She had him reassigned to records archive, the corporate basement, full of dusty boxers and silence. A message loud and clear. You're not welcome upstairs. Who authorized this? David Cardenas returned from a trip. He noticed Joel missing from active projects. Where's Reyes' archive? He didn't adapt. Who authorized that? The board voted. David didn't respond. He went downstairs himself. There he saw Joel surrounded by file cabinets and cobwebs, still studying, still working. You're not down here because you're unqualified, said David. You're down here because you terrify the mediocre, but that ends today. Great. Let's continue and bring this powerful story to its emotional, unforgettable finale later that week. David Cardenas called an emergency meeting. He presented a proposal, raw talent program, an internal initiative to mentor self-taught individuals from underprivileged backgrounds. Samantha scoffed. What's next? Street kids as CFOs. David looked her straight in the eye. If one of them just saved us millions while your Ivy League picks stayed silent, maybe we should rethink who belongs here. That same day, Joel was formally invited back upstairs, but just as things started to change, life hit again. Joel's phone rang at 2:11 a.m. It was the hospital. Dottie's sister, Laura, had collapsed. Her heart couldn't keep up. She needed emergency surgery. Cost $19,800. Due immediately. Joel had just started earning. He didn't have it. He emailed David to decline the raw talent position. My place right now isn't at Nova. My sister is my world. Then he vanished. 2 days later, a nurse handed Joel a sealed envelope. From David, I've lost people I love because I chased power instead of purpose. Let me help now out of pity, but because what you're building matters. The surgery's covered. Your spot at NovaCorp is still yours. But more importantly, don't forget, you were never just a delivery boy. You were always a leader. Davy G. Cardenas, 1 year later. A small legal center opened in the poorest district of the city. Name on the sign, the Joel Reyes Foundation. Free legal aid for the forgotten Joel was no longer a executive. He was a bridge. He split time between NovaCorp and the community, training others, creating scholarships, giving talks titled, You Don't Need Permission to Be Brilliant. At NovaCorp's annual summit, Samantha took the stage with rehearsed numbers and slick slides. Joel took the stage after her with just one line. She showed you charts. I'll show you stories. He then projected 5 faces, real people NovaCorp had helped through his program. Each one had a voice, a face, a life changed. When the audience stood to applaud, Samantha left the room. 2 years later, David G. Cardenas retired. His last email to the company read, The only legacy worth leaving is helping those who never had a seat at the table. I leave this place in the hands of the one who reminded me what matters. Attached was Joel Reyes' new title, Head of Ethical Development and Social Innovation First in the company's history. No degree. No dineju. Just pure grit. Joel walks into a classroom to give a guest lecture. A girl raises her hand and asks, How? Did you become you? He smiles and answers. Because someone told me I didn't belong, and I chose not to believe them. If you reached the end, comment the word unbreakable. Let the world know you're part of the ones who rise no matter how far they've fallen. Like, share, and never forget. You don't need permission to rewrite your story.